I proclaim that my heroes can never wear badges. See, growing up in my part of town, we learned to fear the cops. They were not our protectors. They were more like keepers of the zoo, with a punch here, a kick there, a well-placed billy club. We learned to stay out of the way. And no, they weren't all like that, but the ones who weren't didn't stop the ones who were. And today it's a lot different, but it still kind of gets me sometimes that they're blind to the fact that the way we react to them was shaped by the way they patrolled. And it's hard to change that dynamic when neither side wants to admit any blame for it. Today, I even got a lot of friends who proudly pin that to serve and protect on their chest. But inside here, there's a video that just won't go away. See, every time I read or hear about another beating, I'm transported backwards in time, only it was my grandfather lying on the ground, being hit and kicked and spat upon by men wearing badges because this nigga refused to say sir. I was just a 10-year-old boy, frightened and helpless, and I stood there crying and watching as they punched him, slapped him, pushed him down. He never fought back, but it seemed like they got upset because he wouldn't apologize for what he didn't do. So when he went down, they started beating him. And after a while, I just closed my eyes because I didn't want to see the blood, but I could still hear those blows. I could still hear his as he tried not to cry out. Back then, there were not going to be any spectators because they'd already learned what happened to spectators. So all I could do was pray, please God, please make them stop. Don't let them kill my granddaddy. And they finally did stop. And as I went over to him, all I was hoping was that he was alive, and I was glad to hear the moans flowing from him. And the only thing I could see through my tears in their car lights was the badges from one of the cops as he turned to blow me a kiss. Nobody came out to help until after they drove off, and no, we didn't report it. For what? My grandfather recovered from a fractured jaw and broken ribs, but my psyche never did. I learned to hate the cops. Years later, another incident shaped my psyche. It was Sunday, and Mr. Johnson, who owned the neighborhood store, was closed, so me and Kenneth and Ann decided to cross the tracks and go to the store in the white neighborhood. Everything was fine going there, but on the way back, instead of going all the way around, we decided to cut through the neighborhood streets, which we had done before, but this time, about 7 or 8 white teenage boys decided to follow us, hurling the standard, nigger, monkey, coons, and which we tried to ignore and walk faster. We would have run, but we knew a hand couldn't keep up, so Kenneth finally just said, fuck it, man, I ain't running. And he turned to face me. And my heart was just thumping hard. But then I thought about my grandfather, and I turned to and said, well, take somebody with me before I go down. And just when I was getting ready to tell Ann to run, I saw this police car coming down the street. And I thought her running might get her shot, so we just stood there as he pulled up. He got out of the car, looked at us, and said, how y'all doing? Then he turned to the white kids. Is there a problem here? And one of them said, yeah, these niggas come walking down our street like they belong here, like they're supposed to be here or something. And his eyes narrowed and he walked up to the kid and spoke. Excuse me, did you say They were just walking down the street like they have every right to. I looked at Kenneth, he shrugged, like, no man. Then he turned to them and said, you boys go on home before you get in trouble. Then turned back to us and said, you kids go on, nobody's gonna bother you. And as we trekked slowly away, kind of silent, thinking about it, the always on point Kenneth spoke our thoughts and released tension in the air as he said, did this motherfucker just rescue us?